To another one of my weekly self-defense analysis videos, and today I'm going to be talking to you about is Jun Fan Gung Fu effective for self-defense? Just share my thoughts on it and hopefully give you some insight. So is it effective for self-defense? Well, according to this story, Ted Wong, one of Bruce Lee's students, was attacked. He got involved in a multiple attacker scenario, and it ended badly. And I'll just go ahead and read it to you. Ted was a true martial artist who had many other facets in his life. I remember after Saturday class at the Jun Fan Gung Fu Institute, he invited me to go skydiving with him. I'm gonna just skip that. Okay, let's go down to the good part. Okay, so he was having dinner with Bill Chung. Sorry if I butchered that name. Two journalists, photographer Doug Churchill, writer Mike Lee. They're collaborating on a new book they wanted to publish. After dinner, they said their goodbyes and went their separate ways. As Ted was walking to his car, he heard his name being called. He turned and saw Doug and Mike in a fight. A block away with a gang of boys, Ted ran back to help his journalist friends. He was now in the middle of the fight alongside Doug, and Mike was nowhere in sight. Ted knocked down one and continued the fight against the others, but then tripped over the person he knocked down. While on the ground, he got kicks to the head and body. Ted said he was getting dizzy from being kicked, and he knew that if he didn't get up, then he'd be in big trouble. Ted did get up and continued to fight on instinct. The gang left running. Sadly, because of Mike's dialysis treatment, he could hardly defend himself. He was found unconscious between two parked cars. Mike was transported by ambulance to the USC County Hospital. Ted went to the hospital and stayed with Mike Lee, waiting for an available room. But it wasn't until the next early morning until Mike was admitted. Unfortunately, Mike had waited too long for care, died in the hospital, and Ted was heartbroken when he got home. So I had asked Ted what he could learn from this unfortunate experience, what would have been done differently in the fight. He said, "We practiced too much safety. I should have kicked to break the knee, BUG, the finger jab the eyes, kick the groin area." And yeah, so that's pretty much what happened. And what can we learn from this? Well, Bruce Lee was against light contact or point style sparring. He said that you react in a real self-defense situation the way you train. Basically, you fight the way you train. And he said that street fight or combat situation should end in like 10 seconds. So Ted admitted that, yeah, my mistake was not following that and basically engaging in no contact sparring or semi contact sparring, either one of the two. And he felt like that was what got his friend killed. Um, which is a very important point because the problem with a lot of martial arts and self-defense systems is that they teach you to spar semi-contact or no contact, and that's just not realistic. That's creating bad habits. Like, how do you know that you actually hit your opponent, um, if you don't actually make contact with your opponent? Like, how do you know that your opponent actually got hit versus evaded your attack? Really, no way you could know. Like, um, because people move very quickly, and nothing really lands too cleanly in an actual combative situation. Like, um, I've seen a lot of like MMA fights where somebody threw like a cross or whatever the case may be, and the guy moves back, so it doesn't land that cleanly. There's lots of variables that could affect the outcome. So, and another thing is that no contact sparring um, doesn't prepare you for punching full force. It doesn't really tell you much about the effectiveness of your techniques because eventually you're going to have to make contact. Um, so if you don't do that, then you're just going to end up creating bad habits. And I think that's the problem with a lot of Jun Fan Gung Fu guys is that they don't practice full contact sparring anymore like they used to back in the day. And like I said in my other video, I think that JKD has gone so far downhill, and same with Jun Fan Gung Fu actually. They've just gone down the gutter, and and the result is that it's probably like less effective than it was when Bruce Lee created it. Um, so that's number one, and number two is the techniques, the training, the habits that you have your students do. I know that a lot of Jun Fan Gung Fu schools are pretty formal when it comes to like either they don't necessarily have multiple attacker scenarios, or if they do, they have everybody um, do the same style actually. And basically, the problem is it's too formal, and that could create false confidence and just an unrealistic view of an actual attack. So um, that could actually make it less effective for self-defense. And so yeah, I mean, there you go. There's pretty much based on this specific case, it shows you like the effectiveness of Jun Fan Gung Fu for self-defense. Um, and my solution to the multiple attacker scenario is basically, learn a few techniques, simple techniques, practical techniques, and full contact sparring with people who replicate real life attacks. You know, like that's what I don't. That's why I don't spar with people of the same uh, system. Like I spar with whoever. It doesn't matter if it's a trained person, if it's somebody of a different system, if it's an untrained person. It doesn't matter. That's you're supposed to spar with whoever's available because that's how you test your techniques, you pressure test and whatnot, and you find out what works. Um, so I think that there's your answer as far as is Jun Fan Gung Fu effective for self-defense. I think it can be, but again, like I said in my other videos, it lacks weapons training, like guns and stuff, and knives and things that we actually see in the modern world. It's not a complete self-defense system. Doesn't have verbal de-escalation. Doesn't have situational awareness. It doesn't have things that you actually need for a self-defense situation. And if you don't have that, then you probably will eventually end up hurt or killed. So yeah, that's my thoughts on it. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Like this video, subscribe to my channel, share this video, and I'll see you later.